Okay, now it's 2 p.m. Let's get started. I think there are a few more haven't come in yet, but never mind, we'll start slow. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to lesson 4 of AOM3. Just a reminder, for those who have not signed up for the annual Yijing seminar, which is on 19 November, this is the Pay Now QR code. You can scan it to sign up. Okay, let me go to my slides and we'll get the lesson 4 started. All right, so yesterday we covered level 2. Level 2 means I'm in a chaotic situation, and which we covered six stratagem from stratagem 19 to stratagem 24. So if you have any question regarding level 2, line 2 stratagems, which we covered yesterday, feel free to type in the chat box. Right. So if not, then today we will proceed on with level 3 and partial level 4. So that's a recap. Yesterday we covered the 6 stratagem. What are they? They are 19, pull out the cord, 釜底抽薪. 20, exploit the chaos, 浑水摸鱼. And 21, shed the skin, 金蝉脱壳. 22, close the door, catch the thief, 关门抓贼. 23, defend far, attack near, 远交近攻. And last one for yesterday, 24, borrow a passageway to attack, which is 假道伐号. Okay, so today we're going to move on to 1.5 modules. Okay, 1.5 modules. I mean 1.5 modules, covering module 7 and partial module 8. Okay, so in module 7, what you're going to learn is line 3, I mean level 3, which is I'm in a friend-foe situation. Friend-foe situation basically means, qian gua line 3, right? Line 3 means you got to put on your armor suit, you got to walk behind tiger's tail. So that means this is where you need to be very, very careful. Okay, it's different from line 2. Line 2 is you're in a chaotic situation, but line 3 means seriously, you don't know who is actually your friend or who is actually your foe, or can the friend turn into foe or the foe turn into friend? We don't know. So this is why you have to behave like you are walking behind tiger's tail. Right. So in this module 7, we're going to cover 25 to 36 module. And then if we have time, we'll cover partial module 8. Partial module 8 will cover line 4, which is I'm in a similar strength situation. So when you're line 4, you're somewhere, in terms of 乾卦, right? In terms of career, you're somewhere in the deputy role or manager role, something like that. So that means you have gained quite a bit of strength there. So therefore, it will be a different level as line 3. So in this case, we're going to cover another 6. Wrong. For today, we probably, if we have time, we'll cover at most 3. Okay, half of it, which is 7, 8, and 9, if we can cover today. Okay, so that means today you can expect quite overwhelmed stratagems. That means total, we hope to cover 9 stratagems today. Are you all ready to get started? Type a yes in the chat box if you are. Thank you, Paul. Okay, let's move on to module 7, line 3. I'm in a friend-foe situation, and we are looking at stratagem 25 to stratagem 30. And what are they? They are basically 25, is replace superior beams with inferior ones. Chinese call 偷梁换柱, right? Next, 26 is point at one but score another. This is also pretty often used by people, even country also. Chinese is called 指桑骂槐. Next, 27 is ad blur. Ad blur also very often used. It's called 假刺不颠. 28, remove the ladder after climbing. 上屋抽梯. A lot of people are using this also. Okay, but a lot of unknowing victims. So therefore, those unknowing victims, they would not know that they are being used against these stratagems. Yeah, I will talk about more about that later on. And the next one is 29. Deck the tree with flower. 树上开花. And 30. switch roles, 反客为主. So we're going to definitely cover these 6 today. Okay. Okay, the condition that you may want to consider these 6 stratagems are number 1, your friend may turn foe, become your enemy. So you may want to consider these 6, or you're in a similar strength. These kind of conditions, they can consider these 6. But like I said before, all these are not cast in stone. So if let's say these 6, you don't find it relevant to your context or to the situation, feel free to discard them and explore the others. Intention is to wrest the control over, because you are line 4, you have a bit of power, you have a bit of ground, so may the opponent. So it's like a tug of war, and then this 6 stratagem may help you to wrest some control over to your side, to your advantage. May not. Depend on how you fill in the content and how you execute the stratagem. Yeah. Or the intention could be is to handicap the opponent. Handicap meaning make them difficult to make the next move, or make them difficult to make a choice. Right? So this is called handicap the opponent. Yeah. Okay, let's quickly move on to the very first stratagem for today. It is stratagem 25. Replace superior beams with inferior ones. Chinese called 偷梁换柱. And the Chinese verse on the left side, it says this. Where's my pen? Okay. Loosely translated, I speak in English. Loosely translated, it says, make your enemy change his battle formation frequently so that his main force is weakened. Right? This is number 1 point. Number 2, wait till he exhausts himself, then go and destroy him. Basically, it's wait for the ink to come out. The ink means the soft spot. Yeah. Wait till he exhausts himself, then go and destroy him. And number 3, if you control the front wheel of the barrel, you can take control of its direction. Basically, is to wrest the control over to your side so that you dictate how things goes. It's very similar to the guided conversation that we covered yesterday. And we talk about, when I say certain things to you, actually I'm guiding you towards a certain kind of thinking or towards taking a certain choice, right? So you could be an unknowing victim that's subjected to my guided conversation. So this 偷梁换柱 has a very similar manner in such a way that I guide you, or I slowly change certain major component, for example, maybe of your belief system or your thought process or your guidelines or your procedure or your protocol, slowly change until it totally transform to a totally new system, new protocol, or new belief, whatever. And that new thing is something that will benefit more. Right? So I do it slowly, but I change all the major components slowly, bit by bit, into something that fits me. Okay, so actually in that sense, I am controlling the front wheel of the barrel. That means I dictate the flow. Right? So if you look at this phrase on the left, Chinese, I'm not sure whether you're able to detect any hexagram there or not. Not likely, right? Okay, because there's no obvious indication to any specific hexagram, unlike the previous few stratagem that we mentioned yesterday. So if you look at the line in red color here, the last line here, actually it provides some indication. If you copy and paste these 4 Chinese character into Google, right, and you search, it will come up with one hexagram. It's called 水火既济, hexagram 63. Okay, hexagram 63, line 1, it is exactly the same. 谢其伦. Okay, 谢其伦. If you look at just now, 谢其伦. Right? So 谢其伦 meaning, loosely translated, means control the front wheel. In that case, you control the direction that it is moving. So therefore, if you see a 水火既济卦, you can think about 偷梁换柱. That means change bit by bit the core components. Okay, so 水火既济 or 火水未济, you can think about 偷梁换柱, right? You can think about this. When you see these two, you can think about it. So for example, why do I say if when you see these two, you can actually think about what do you call that? 偷梁换柱, You see 水火既济, right? First line change, right? Because this that's why I show you this verse here. 初九 means the first line. The 爻辞 says 谢其轮 means control the front wheel, you control the direction, right? So therefore, if you have a 卦 and specifically if the first line change, right? It will change to from 水火既济, it will change to 水山减. So if you control the front wheel by changing the bottom line, the first line, you are actually restricting further movement of the enemy. Okay, you are restricting. 水山减 means limping. Limping means 白卡. This is what we learn in AOM2, right? It's like 白卡 like that. So by changing or taking control of the front wheel, by changing the first line, we are actually creating a 水山减 energy on the enemy. Okay, and when you flip this over, right? When you flip the 水火既济, you have a 火水未济, which is hexagram 64, the last of the 64 hexagram. Okay, so in that case, just by after you change the first line, then you slowly change the second line, line by line up. You see, by changing the second line, you get 火地进. Okay, so first you change bit by bit so that you handicap the enemy, and then as you change further, you yourself will get advancement. Okay, you yourself get advancement. So basically, this is what we want to do. 偷梁换柱. All right, 偷梁换柱 means you change line by line slowly. Okay, the core component are not any other small fries things, but it's core component. You need to change, you change, but bit by bit, line by line, and so that you serve two purposes. One is to handicap the enemy. The other one is to provide advancement opportunity for yourself. Condition for this to be effective is number one, keep changing the pillar and beams. 偷梁换柱, Liang and the beams means the pillar and the beams lah. So basically it's keep changing lah, bit by bit lah. So it's like changing the bolts lah, changing the nuts lah, changing or the core thing lah, changing the material lah. Maybe instead of changing from metal, you change to wood or vice versa, something like this. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, your intention of doing this should not be disclosed. Okay, should not be disclosed, or maybe you release on the need to know basis, right? Otherwise, if you disclose too early, prematurely, you can expect what I call that, protest, objection to come in, because you may have 99 agree with you, but there could be only one that going to object you. All right, so somehow there will be objection lah. Okay, so if you want lesser friction, then only disclose on the need to know basis. Next, remove the main source of power. So it's pretty similar to stratagem 19, 釜底抽薪, pull out the cord. Pull out the cord is also to pull out the main source, right? But it's different. It's slightly different from 19, because 19, 釜底抽薪, basically means you pull away pull out the main source. That's it. That thing cannot survive without the main source. Now here, 偷梁换柱 is you want to totally pull out already. You want to totally change the thing, like overhaul like that. Overhaul unto something different, something new, something different that is to maybe more people's advantage. Right? So I want you to think a bit of recent incident that you may have used this 偷梁换柱, or you may have experienced someone using this stratagem on you, or you have seen people using it. All right, 偷梁换柱 means change here bit by bit, but I will share with you some of the variations that I have used before, or I have seen people doing it before. For example, on a business level, it could be a company reorg. right? So if, for example, company may want to do pivoting, okay, pivoting, especially during COVID time, they want to pivot instead of selling what I call that, selling physical, selling their clothes in physical store. They want to change to selling online. They may want to change the bolt and nut, how they do the delivery, how they do the payment gateway, things like it. So they change bit by bit, bit by bit, until totally pivot over to become a digital store or online store, something like this, right? So company reorg could be one of them, company reorg or company pivoting. Next, it could be changing out key staffs. This is especially is pretty linked to reorg, but sometimes it may not be a full reorg. You just want to change over the top management part. So that means the key staff lah. So they just change one by one. Okay, one by one, slowly change one by one. So this is also 偷梁换柱, changing pillar by pillar, one by one. Okay, pirated goods can also be considered a 偷梁换柱. Why? Can anybody help me to explain why do I type in there pirated goods? How can we classify pirated goods as using 偷梁换柱 stratagem? Can anyone help me out with this? Okay, so I leave it there first. So I'm waiting for inputs. Alan says same content but from different source. Very good, Alan. Thank you very much. So everything the same, but just change the main component. All right, maybe different material. Okay, or maybe the logo slightly different. Is 偷梁换柱咯. Okay, 偷梁换柱. So very good. Thank you, Alan. So next one, changing rules and regulation is also the same thing. All right. So you see, if you compare back early 2020 when COVID strikes our government, when they implement measures, you compare those initial measures compared with today measures and compared with when we were at the peak measures, they were also changing pillar by pillar, bin by bin, until where we are today, right? So changing rules and regulation is also part of 偷梁换柱. Changing belief system is targeting on a person. Okay, targeting on a person. Sometimes how we brainwash people, although I don't encourage people to brainwash other people, but sometimes is we don't call it as brainwash, we call them as enlightened. Okay, so we may, sometimes for some people who are very negative, prone to negativity one. So as a life coach, we come in, we try to change your negative belief system, pillar by pillar by pillar, okay, until you totally change up. Change up means to become more positive compared to before, okay. Yeah, so this is what we do as a life coach. All right, so or a corporate culture. So belief system and corporate culture actually is very, very hard to change. I'm not sure whether you agree with me or not. For those in organization redesign kind of industry, you probably can advise better the class whether it is so. Okay, so corporate culture, same thing. If you really want to change the corporate culture, it can't be overnight, right? You will take years, maybe perhaps even generations of leaders before you can see a change, right? So changing system and processes, same thing. If you want to go from manual to automation, same thing. You got to change pillar and beams, bolts and nuts, one by one, one by one. This is called 偷梁换柱. Okay, so last but not least, twisted facts and reality. Right, so it could be like you think certain things to be like that, right? But if every day I come in and tell you a slightly twisted reality to what you believe to be so, in fact, I'm trying to change bit by bit about your belief towards a certain things. Okay. So this is also part of the 偷梁换柱. Can you think of any more? For example, in the business world, can you think of any organization or any business that has successfully undergone 偷梁换柱? maybe from a soon to be failure kind of business, and then they 偷梁换柱, they become successful again. Can you think of any businesses like this, or any one, or any example? Or can be a national level, can be business level, personal level, or international level. If not, let me share with you. I always like to share the story of Kodak and Fuji, right? So anyone know Kodak? Anyone can still remember Kodak? Okay. Alan mentioned previously AIA Citibank during 2008 crisis. Yes, thank you very much. Yes, AIA also undergone what I call that transformation. Okay, so Citibank same too. Thank you, Alan. Paul said digital transformation is hot thing now. Very good. Okay, very good. That's right. Okay, digital transformation, and there's another thing that is very hot thing now. Can anybody know what is that? Another trend is coming. Industrial Revolution 4.0. Oh, I got 4.0. Okay. Okay. E-payment. PayPay. Thank you very much. Okay. The next in thing, or up and coming in thing, may not be the in thing right now, but it's up and coming. Okay. I think can 报价 one. Alan say Meta. Okay. Meta. Okay. You can say it's Meta. It is sustainability. You all know what sustainability? Talking about going green, talking about carbon. You get my point? Okay, so they are coming in, so that in the name of saving climates lah, things like that lah. So sustainability is becoming a very very big thing. All right, so let's say for example going to um, okay, Alan said Grab started off focusing on ride hailing, then progressively move on to food and then financial. Thank you, Alan. Very, very, very good. Yes, very good. So, like Grab, I think Alan pointed out a very good example. Like Grab came out as a ride hailing, but they changed, although they still retain this pillar of ride hailing, but they are also changing part of their processes, part of their business development to include food delivery, and then now financial. Okay, financial payment gateway. Okay, so very good, Alan. Thank you very much. And I think ride hailing has come to a plateau, if I'm not wrong. Right. So as all things, if you know this 虚卦传, right, you know that ride hailing will come to a point whereby it will be even more regulated than ever. So it will be going back to taxi time. Okay, taxi time. Okay, so where was I? Sustainability. I think I mentioned about sustainability already. Okay, so tell me, for those who know about sustainability, how is the government going to use this stratagem to work towards sustainability? Anybody has an idea? Especially those who are keen in sustainability. Right? Think about it. Okay, think about it. Okay, meanwhile, let me proceed with my slides. I always like to tell about Kodak and Fuji story. Yeah. Now, both are selling films. Okay, those conventional camera films. Back then. Kodak was the market leader. Okay, market leader. Fuji was so-called a follower. All right, not quite close to Kodak, but still okay lah. But then because of the digital camera coming into the picture, Kodak couldn't follow. All right. And then Kodak fall from grace like Nokia like that. Fuji, not the market leader, somehow is able to use 偷梁换柱. All right, 偷梁换柱, and then transform, do a major transformation. They do still sell film. I think I saw some shops still selling this conventional camera film. Okay, I think must be for those nostalgic photographer lah. Okay, so what did they do? Okay, what did they do? Very interesting. You can read their stories online. You know, because their expertise is on producing films, so they have to use a lot of technologies, chemical technologies on imaging, and then the type of chemical to use on the film so that the color won't run after many years, things like that. So they have this technology. So what they do is, based on the anti-color fading technology originally applied to film conservation, they went into beauty care. Okay, they went into beauty care. So it's like, oh, anti-color, anti-fading, so anti-aging, something like that. Okay, so they went to that. So they take the pillar, they change. Okay, so instead of producing film, they totally change into pivot into another type of industry called the beauty care one, or skin care, or something like this. So other Fuji transformation, they use the lab infrastructure to develop new drugs for medical. They also use their imaging technology for medical diagnosis imaging system, like the scanner lah, like I'm not too sure because I'm not into this. So it's for medical purposes lah, medical scanning, medical diagnosis. So now Fuji is a very, very huge company. So they did the transformation very well by using 偷梁换柱 stratagem. It works for them. Unfortunately, Kodak didn't do that. Okay, I'm not sure where Kodak is now, but I think I saw them selling something. I'm not too sure. Okay, so this is one very classic examples, and Alan mentioned about Grab is also one classic example. So I hope Grab can do well in this area here. Right. So any more examples that you can think of? Right. If not, let's move on to say to talk about how you can don't fall victim to 偷梁换柱. So sometimes you may be you may be managing a department, and then the top management may have something in mind but didn't tell you. They maybe want to change the key staff and things like that. How can you not fall victim to that condition? You may fall victim is if you are easy manipulated. Okay, easily manipulated means people tell you to do certain things, you just do it lah. Okay, so easily manipulated, or it could be too trusting. Maybe your boss is telling you, trust me lah, 我会照顾你的啦，我会罩着你. So too trusting. Okay, so it may be play out, or you could be easily distracted, or you easily doubt yourself. Okay, and you're not alert enough. All right, if you're not alert enough, same thing. When there are 小动作 being done by certain other department or by HR or by top management, you're not alert to those, then you could be sidelined. Yeah. So on a personal level, sometimes people can do this to you. You could be an unwilling victim, unknowing victim. Sorry. So for example, you're often told that your version of an event or a conversation is wrong. So you thought you hear this, you thought you saw this, you thought you read this, but somehow some other people will tell you, say, no, I think you read wrongly. No, you recall wrongly. No, it should be like this. No, it's like that. And then if let's say one person tell you like that, you see wrongly, then another person tell you you see wrongly, third person tell you you see wrongly, I think 3% tell you see wrongly is enough to convince you that you are wrong. Okay, so what the 3% did was really change the pillar in what you think was right. Right? So, or if you feel like you're constantly having to explain yourself or backtrack, you're probably experiencing this extremely damaging form of psychological abuse, which is, I think, very damaging because you're going to have self-doubt even more. You thought you read this right, but people tell you, no, you read it wrong. Okay. Now, if let's say somebody use this on you and you discover that and you want to counter, these are the two things that you can consider. Right? Number one, 李代桃僵, that means sacrifice the plum to save the peach. That means you have to sacrifice something lah, to save. That means the plum you got to sacrifice so that you can save the peach. And the peach is the thing that you want to preserve or conserve, that is so precious to you that you want to keep it alive. But plum is, never mind, I can let go. So you sacrifice the plum. Okay. For example, if let's say top management want to change your department bit by bit, but then you know that if you allow them to change, then probably your key staff that is important to you may be switched out also. All right. So what you want to do is you let go of those not. I mean, you need negotiate with the top management. Say, okay, then I let go of this less performer, something like this lah. So you sacrifice the plum to save your the best stuff. Or you can consider 指桑骂槐, point at one but scold another. Okay, so when people use this strategy on you, 偷梁换柱 at you, probably they'll do it discreetly. Okay, they probably won't tell you because that's why I say the condition for it to be effective is it cannot be disclosed. So if you're the one being affected, then they probably can't disclose it to you. So somehow if you get wind of it saying that, oh, you have been targeted for this change, then you want to counter, right? So you may want to use 指桑骂槐. 指桑骂槐 means you won't directly say it out, you won't directly raise concern or whatever, but you may want to use a proxy. You may say about something else, but it actually indirectly trying to tell, whoever is intended to, that you mean this way. Okay, so it's like point at one but scold another. 指桑骂槐. Okay, clear about this? Right, so this is the very first strategy for today. It's called 偷梁换柱. Yeah, change the beam and the pillar. Now, with this, let us move on to the second strategy, 26, point at one, but scold another, 指桑骂槐. Loosely translated in English, it says a stronger force can sound a warning to rule over the weak. Okay, so a stronger force can actually go outright and attack the weak, but he didn't do that. But he just sound out a warning to rule out the weak. So this is basically the intention of 指桑骂槐. I'm not going to attack you, but I'm going to sound out a warning. Okay, so one's uncompromising display of power will earn support and resolute action will demand reverence. Okay, so it's like sounding out a warning. If you catch that warning, you quite do what you're supposed to do. Okay, don't play pang, something like this. So where is this, which hexagram is this inspired from? It is inspired from this 地水师 hexagram 7. It says here, it's safe for the young to take risky action to restore order. Where is the young? The young basically means the second line. Okay, the second line here. All right, and second line, and 地水师 means to lead, to go to war, to take action, to something like that. So it's like almost like a war, but it's a warning. All right, so it is safe for the young to take risky action. Why is it safe? It's because second line, this is always a 中位. Okay, so second line and the fifth line is always pretty safe one. Pretty safe. So when you're in the second line, that means pretty safe. Although 有点不当位. Okay, 有点不当位, because line 2 is supposed to be an in line, but it is a young line sitting there. So 有点不当位. So 不当位 means you shouldn't go to war, but instead you should give out a warning, a softer approach of a war, a prelude to a war. Okay, let's take a look at this. You see here, 地水师 second line change. When you change already, it become a 坤卦. A 坤卦. So the process 卦 is a 地雷复. Okay, 地雷复. So when you give a warning, your intention is hopefully the intended audience receive your warning, understood the warning, and then comply with the warning. Do what it's supposed to do. So basically, the intention of that warning is to reset the situation back to where it's supposed to be. I mean, back to quite normal situation. And then after resetting, right, everybody is in full compliance again. 坤卦嘛，坤卦 means 顺，顺 means full compliance 嘛。Okay, so basically this is the full intention of 指桑骂槐, because I think the one who executes 指桑骂槐, they also don't want to go into outright confrontation. So as long as give out a warning, indirect warning, you receive it, understood it, and comply with it, fair. That's all. That's it. That's all I want. Something like this. So think about it. In what kind of situation would you use 指桑骂槐? Or think of a recent incident whereby someone did a 指桑骂槐 on you. If you have experienced those, type in the chat box and share with the class, yeah? Or you can think of national level, international level, that use this 指桑骂槐. I'm sure they are plentiful. Condition for this to be effective. Now, when you're going for direct confrontation, right, then of course you will point out the name lah, because direct confrontation ma. But if you're using 指桑骂槐, an indirect approach, then do not name the names. Okay, do not name the names because your intention is not to go for direct confrontation. Okay, so in this case here, do not name the names, so you cannot be accused. Use intermediaries, use third parties, or use any other thing as a proxy. Okay, as a proxy. Now, always be mindful of the other opponent's face. Okay, keep face, give face, and save face lah. Basically, it's like that lah. Especially if the opponent is a Chinese lah. They are very 很注重脸啦，脸。Okay, can you think of examples of 指桑骂槐? I'll give you examples. Okay, Alan say Pelosi visit to Taiwan. All right. Can you elaborate more? How is this linked to 指桑骂槐? Okay, so you can continue typing. Let me proceed with my slides. Okay. Alan said meant to send message to China. That's right. Very good. Now you notice that which before going to China, before going to Taiwan, Pelosi has gone to many other countries, right, including Singapore, right, before landing in Taiwan, right? And in each of the countries that she visited, she gave a speech, okay? And in the speech, although he did not mention any country, right? And the way he put it out is always for the good of Asia, good of ASEAN, good of whatever, good of whatever. Actually, the message, yes, like what Alan said, is meant for China. Okay, it's meant for China. So same thing when she landed in Taiwan and she has a dialogue with the president of Taiwan. Same thing. Okay, the message, although it's between them, is also meant for China. Ellen says she can no need go Taiwan if got such tension. Okay, for her own agenda, I believe, for her own agenda, right? So I'm not sure whether she is in collaboration with Biden on what she has to do and Biden has to do to contain China, or was it that she was doing it for her own personal agenda, personal political agenda? Okay, so I leave it to her lah. But good point, Alan, that you mentioned. Yeah, a lot of time statesmen go out there when not statesmen, a spokesperson go out there. They often use 指桑骂槐, especially in recent times. Okay, some examples is kill the chicken to scare the monkeys could be one examples, right? So 杀一儆百. Okay, 杀一儆百. That means, for example, probably a lot of, let's say you are a department head and you have noticed many of your staff, okay, went for 1 hour lunch break, but always come back 1.5 hours. Okay, so the lunch break is 1 hour, but they actually came back 1.5 hours. So that means every day they eat up half an hour from company's time. So if you want to use 指桑骂槐 because you don't want to single out every one of them, I mean you don't want to go for direct confrontation, what can you do? Okay, using 指桑骂槐. Can anybody think of one good example? Fill in the content. How would you do it to send a 指桑骂槐 to your staff? Okay, so one way is to do kill the chicken to scare the monkeys. Means bo pian lah. You need to use one sacrifice lah. That means get one staff, put him to task, so that when that staff was penalized for coming back late frequently, it sends out a warning to the rest. Okay, so that the rest can quite toe the line and then come back after 1 hour. So this is called kill the chicken to scare the monkeys. It's not direct confrontation, but this one involved the sacrifice of a chicken. Okay, next, implicit comparison or implied comparison. Now, what it means by implicit comparison is, like, for example, okay, Alan mentioned, place a poster, time is money to company, be on time. Okay, can also. So that is a very good reminder. May not be a warning still, a good reminder. Okay, a good reminder. Now, I'm not sure how many of your companies, how many of you have companies that have this system of tapping in and out of your office. Even you go toilet, you tap out. You have to tap out first. Then when you after toilet, you come back in. You gotta tap in again. So how many time you go out and how many time you come in is all clock. And what time you report for work, what time you go out for lunch, what time you come back, you are your time is being tracked. I don't know how many of you have this kind of system in place in your company. Now, I've known one case is like that. That's how we mentioned about the scenario whereby no staff coming back 1.5 hours later, because all this while nobody catch so that means more and more monkey see, monkey do. Okay, so what the head of department do to send out a warning is very easy. Get his PA to print out the timesheet. I mean, not the timesheet, the time record. Okay, especially the lunchtime period, and then you send that report to the section head. Okay, send the report to the section head and highlight those that come back late, half an hour late. Highlight, okay, and then send to the section head. And then he did not say anything at all. Just send the report to them with the highlight there, especially to the names that come back late frequently. This is fair warning, isn't it so? This is a very fair warning. And then if the section head who are seng mode one, seng mode means alert one, you know that, okay, this is a warning already. You better pull back my own men first and tell them and warn them to come back on time. Okay, so this is another way called 指桑骂槐. So Alan says, send a news article relating to lateness. Yes, same thing. Okay, it's also same thing. Is to send an indirect message but carry the same meaning. Alan said, or tell them a story about a failure that was due to being late, or share with them how his child was being penalized because he was late sending him to school, and because of his action, his child got penalized. Thank you very much. This is a very good example of implicit comparison. I'm using a totally different story, not their own story, but a different story. Like, for example, Alan mentioned his child. Okay, his child was penalized for being late to school. So therefore, if even child has to be penalized, therefore staff and as an adult may have to be penalized as well if you're late. Something like this. So very good. Okay, so third point here is scare tactic. So Alan's example has a little bit element of scare tactics, threats, warnings, and even punishment. Yeah. Okay, or use analogy or metaphors. Right? Metaphors don't use too chim one, because sometimes too chim, people don't catch no ball. Okay, catch no ball. All right, so can use story like what Alan shared just now, talk about his child. That one would be a good analogy. So this is pretty similar to Li Dai Tao Jiang, especially the kill the chicken to scare the monkey one. It's a bit of Li Dai Tao Jiang, means you sacrifice one of the staff, penalize one of the staff so that you can scare. Okay, save the peach. Here is save the peach, but you have to scare the monkeys first. Or you use sarcasm. Chinese called 讽刺啦，讽刺. You did not directly scold them for being late, but you use something like some 讽刺 kind of wordings. Hopefully they can receive your message loud and clear. All right. So if you can think of any other examples, do share in the chat box. Yeah. Paul say armor vehicle used by SAF for overseas training in Taiwan was delayed at Hong Kong Kwai Chung Container Terminal due to a request for routine inspection by the Hong Kong. Thank you very much. Yes, Paul, thank you very much. This is a very good example of international level. Now, think about it. Think about this incident. This sending of armor vehicles to Taiwan for training was not the first time. Was not the first time. It has been ongoing for many years now. Okay, but why was it that that time was a special time that was being hold up? Okay, being hold up. All right. I think in Hong Kong. Yeah, Hong Kong. In Hong Kong. Why? Can anybody recall when this thing happened? What was happening? Current affair. What was happening? I think this is a very classic, but nobody say anything about why this is happening, right? They just give a excuse saying that it's a routine inspection. Alan is saying SG was openly supporting US and not China. Thank you very much. Very good example of 指桑骂槐. Although it's not using scolding, but it's as good as scolding. Okay, so if you use this, if you look at this variation, it's something like yeah, can you say kill the chicken to scare the monkey? That means this unit sending the armor vehicle become the victim the sacrifice is the plum okay, or the scared tactic as well Okay, very good. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul, for this classic example. So you understand this stratagem very well. Yeah. Okay, so that's not talking about 讽刺 sarcasm, right? So if, for example, here again on the lateness from lunch example scenario, Matthew frequently take 1.5 hours for lunch when the official lunch break is just 1 hour. That's not that scenario. So one day his direct superior tahan already decided to use this Sama Huai on Matthew. So and every time he's back from late from lunch, so his superior would just step out of his office and say, "Hey, welcome back, Matthew," very loud in front of the in front of the what do you call that, other staff. So I'm sure Matthew will catch the message lah, right? So this is using sarcasm, 讽刺Okay, countermeasures. This one got nothing to countermeasures actually, because if you receive the message and you know you're in the wrong, you just repent and change. You get my point? You just repent and change, quite change so that it won't happen again. Or next, because it's not using a direct confrontation, right? It may not be you, okay? It may not be talking about you, but because 你心里有鬼, right? 心里有鬼, and it resonate with that 鬼, right? Whatever your boss is saying resonate with the 鬼 inside your heart. It seems as though it's directly talking to you, right? Even though you have this kind of feeling, you just blend in with the crowd. Okay, just blend in with the crowd. Do not stick out like a sore thumb. I've seen people 心里有鬼 one will try to speak up and defend. Even though it's not talking about him, he will try to come out and speak up, stand up and defend why people late, why people like that, why people like that. Alamak, don't need to to stick out like a sore thumb, because since your boss is using some stratagem, it is meant to be discreet. All right, so you just blend in, 乖乖 tiam tiam, suck the thumb. That's it. Full stop. Okay. Last but not least, if you intend to continue what you're doing, then you just add blur lor. Okay, and then see what happens next if you continue to commit the same thing lah. Right. So these three things that you can do lah. But remember, this one is because your boss is using this as sama huai, it is meant to be discreet already. So you just tiam tiam, 乖乖 blend in. Is that okay? Right. So this is rule. This is stratagem. Second stratagem for the day. Alan say add fire to the field, then round up the lesson to improve on timeline. Let the boss know you got the message. Ah, okay, good point. But very risky. Yeah, I understand. That's right. Very risky. It's like what do you call that? 此地 here got no goal. Okay, Ken. So let's move on to the next stratagem. 27 called ad blur. 假词不颠. Oh, this one is a very popular stratagem. Do you agree? Very popular stratagem because at some point in time, all of us use this before. Even children, they will know how to use ad blur. Here, loosely translated in English, sometimes it's better to pretend to be foolish than take no action, than to show off and rush into a situation recklessly. Key point here is recklessly. By recklessly means you are reacting. You're no longer responding. Because if you're responding, then it can't be recklessly already. Yeah? So next point is be self-composed, plot secretly, and be prepared to sprout. Prepared to sprout means prepared to take action. So this stratagem is most suitable for, remember the maneuvering principles that we covered in lesson 1? Wrong, lesson 2, I think. Okay. We talk about you have desire but appear no desire. You are far but appear you're near, or near you appear far. Things like that. Conceal your intention. This 假词不颠 is best used to conceal your intention. If you're guilty, you appear no guilty. You act blur. If you want, you act blur like as though you don't want. Okay, you're interested, you act blur as though you're not interested. So this is concealing intention. The best stratagem to use that. Okay, so where is it coming from? Which hexagram? 水雷尊. Okay, 水雷尊 here means not advisable to progress. Preserve the young. Okay, preserve which young? There are two young. Can anybody tell me? There are two young here. When you say preserve the young, which young are we trying to preserve? The top young or the bottom young? Which one do you think? Top young, bottom young that we are trying to preserve? Pepe said top. Why top? Okay, top, why top? Alan said top. Why top? This is sprouting. Okay, 水雷尊 is sprouting. What is sprouting? Which line is sprouting? And when you are sprouting, how strong are you? Alan said it is at level 5. Okay, so Alan's explanation is at level 5 is a king emperor position, so need to preserve that emperor position. So Pepe said remove top have to have more growth. Top yang is a blockage. Okay, so top yang is a blockage. Right? So 水雷尊, I think in AOM1 I mentioned 水雷尊 is like a little grass or little plant trying to grow, sprouting. Taugei want to grow already. But as it grows, there are danger on top. Danger is 砍挂, coming downwards. Also, 砍挂 is coming downwards, but the plant is trying to grow upward. And this plant is still a seedlings, is starting to sprout and making its best effort to grow upward. But it knows that there's a 砍挂 coming down, danger coming down. Okay, so therefore, this line number 1 say not advisable to progress. So this message is meant for the top 砍挂 or the bottom 正挂. Think again. Now that I explain a bit more, not advisable to progress. This message is meant for the top 砍 or bottom 正. It's meant for this little plant here, the seedlings here, the sprouts here. Okay, it's meant for these sprouts to listen in, say, you want to grow, I understand. Okay, but go slow. Okay, go slow, not advisable to progress at very fast speed or recklessly. The keyword is do not progress forward recklessly. So preserve the young is actually trying to preserve this bottom one because 阳气最重要, huh? This one, it has full potential. to become a very big, powerful oak tree in the future. Right? So do not progress recklessly. Huh? So this is therefore add blur first, lor. You can see danger, but you add blur, lor. I think perhaps this is how you get inspired. Huh? 水雷针 means you add blur. Okay. Now, a bonus tips here. I've experienced this when I get a 山水蒙卦 for a case, a scenario. And then this 蒙, right? 蒙 here, this 蒙卦 can means 蒙蔽, 懵懂, ignorant or naive, whatever. So if it's ignorant, you are generally blur. Okay, right? So 蒙蔽 is also, like bluff you, bluff there. So it's like also blur. Right? So therefore, 山水蒙, you can also think about 假痴不颠, that means act blur. So in this case here, if you see a 山水蒙 or you see a 水雷尊, you can relate to 假痴不颠, act blur. Okay. What's the condition for it to be effective? Number one, please have a good acting skill. Okay, some app blur until so fake. You know it is really app blur one. All right. So please have a decent, good acting skill that really show that you are really blur Okay, next, poker face. Poker face means 面不改色. 面不改色 means sometimes when you 心里有, especially when you have, there's something inside you, 心里有鬼 one, and then somebody mentioned something that resonate with that 鬼 inside, very naturally you have micro movement here and there, especially the eyes. Okay, especially the eyes, and then the way you speak and the words that you use and the choice of response that you give, all these are micro signals that you may give out to the opponent, especially if they are masters in maneuvering, they can pick up all these micro signals, and will know that you are actually acting blur. Okay, so learn how to have poker face, 面不改色 in the new program, Ultimate 易经 Persuasion program, I will show you how to read the eyes. Okay, how to know that somebody is telling a lie, right? Okay, next, have to hide the intention. Okay, hide the intention. I think this is no brainer. You have to hide the intention now, and then convince enemy you are not a threat. Here is as good as you really blend in, add blur all the way. Okay, don't be a sore thumb, right? So this is one of the key thing about acting blur, right? You act until so real, you actually convince the enemy that, hey, you don't know anything at all, or you're not a threat at all, things like that. Okay, cite me some examples that you can think of app blur, whether it is personal level, business level, national level, international level. You can think of anything, feel free to type in the chat box. But I give you some examples that I've seen. Variations, number one, app blur, not knowing anything. Okay, you may have known something. Okay, maybe you know how to do this SAP coding, that coding, or this command, that command, or do macro on Excel sheet, something like this, or do pivot table. But when times comes where your boss needs someone who knows how to do Excel macro to step up to do, when the boss asks who know how to do macro, damn. Okay, damn app blur. All right, so this is app blur, not knowing anything. Okay, but you know the most. Yeah. Or app blur, not doing anything because timing not right. All right, so this is also pretty common. You're supposed to do certain things, but inside you find that timing not right, so you just app blur. When people push you to do certain things, you just okay, I'll do, but in the end never do, app blur. Okay. Or next one, app blur, not understanding anything, but you understand more than anyone. Right? So for example, 高材生 top scholar, right? So they just don't want to be in the limelight, or single out singled out by teacher or by your boss to say that, oh, you, because you know everything, therefore every time I ask you, right? So you better act blur, not understanding anything, or act blur, not caring about anything, but actually it matters to you the most. So this is like you have a desire, but you appear no desire, right? So you like, you care about that thing, you care about that position, you care about that promotion, but you act as though you don't care about the promotion. So this is you act not caring. Or last but not least, act blur, not able to do anything, but you already have the best plan, but timing not right. So you already know what you need to do, but because timing is not right, so therefore you just act as though you don't know what to do. You are not doing, you are not going to do anything. All sort of things by acting blur. Okay, so if you can think of any other examples, feel free to type in the chat box. Now, I've seen parents do this to their child using 假词不颠, and their child basically is when their child was at the age of being inquisitive, you know, growing up, right? The toddler become, small boy, and then the small boy, start to be very inquisitive about almost everything that they see and they know. So they will keep on asking 1万个为什么 why this, why that, why this, why that. So until the parents also so tired, got to answer this and answer that. Of course, we shouldn't be limiting the child's learning process lah. So I've seen parents do this, and I thought, wow, pretty good. So I've come across a family, all right, a kid, young boy also, and this young boy was really, really inquisitive. Keep on asking why. So the parent, in handling him, every time this kid asks why like that, why like that, okay, instead of what instead of doing what most parents did and angrily telling, because I say so, or because I say so, so you have to do this. This particular parent will tell his child, this one, okay, where is it? I'm not sure. Okay, I'm not sure. What do you think? Okay, so blur, so I also not sure. So what do you think? So by replying in this manner, actually is throwing back the ball to the child to say, why don't you do a little bit of thinking about that why? All right, so you may have some answers. So actually by doing this, you opens up the child minds to think, to process the thought process, and then maybe come up with possible answers, maybe right, maybe wrong, but at least that get him started instead of relying to get the answers from outside free, just like that. It also train up his brain and his mind. Okay, so I thought this is a very good example of 假词不颠. Okay, another example, international level. I'm not sure how many of you follow this news before. I think it was in 2020, US caught a Singaporean, right? Caught this US, wrong. US caught this Singaporean Dixon Yeo to be a spy, right? In US. Okay. But they are not saying that it is a Singaporean spy. The US is accusing him to be a China spy. Okay, a China spy. So the title here say Dixon Yeo China, and then China respond. Okay, China respond say China not aware of case. Okay, China not aware of case, right? So China can also do a what do you call that, app blur even on such an issue called espionage one. Pei Pei say, when I was a kid, I got the reply because your backside why when I ask why. Oh, okay. So that's it. Does that stop you from asking further? All right. So even at international level, like this case, Dixon Yeo, the country can also play app blur. Okay. Next, countermeasures. Now, for those who do not know how to do decent acting on app blur, you can be easily exposed. Okay, you can be easily exposed, and then if you have noticed that whoever on the app blur on you, you notice is acting blur, you can expose the force acting. Okay, force acting. Yeah. That's number one. Or number two, you know he's acting. You may want to, for example, 将计就计, go with the flow and think of something else. Yeah. So these are two counter measures. Okay, Pepe say, cause can't continue conversation till adult, got long-lasting effect with that person. Okay, yeah, I can understand because by replying you with because your bedside YY, it is actually what they are trying to do is actually stopping the process, right? Stopping the process of what? Stopping the process of asking. Okay, all right. Alan say can also try 指桑骂槐, let the app blur person know that you are aware. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. Perhaps I should add one more. Thank you very much. Yes, I think you're correct. I should probably add in one more countermeasures as 指桑骂槐. Thank you very much. Okay, so yes, indeed, you can also use 指桑骂槐 and see whether the opponent, the app blur opponent, catch your ball or not. Okay, good point. Question so far? Can follow me up to now? Okay, Pepe is asking how. How is going back to the previous strategy, look through, all right? You think back, you can just bring along, what do you call it? Talk about a proxy, what do you call it? Indirect comparison. Comparison. Okay, the last time when somebody did that, what happened to that person, something like this. Okay, so this is like an indirect comparison. It's almost like 指桑骂槐. You get that, Pepe? Okay, so Pepe is asking, I meant as a young kid then. What young kid then? Okay, I think Alan, correct me if I'm wrong. When you say 指桑骂槐, you are actually giving a general suggestion to say 指桑骂槐 could be a countermeasure to the general what do you call that? 假词不颠. Am I correct to say that? Yes, in general sense. Yep. Okay, that's right. So because for Pepe, because you were still a child at that point in time when this happened, so you may not be able to use 指桑骂槐. All right, correct me if I'm wrong. Because you don't have that status to use a 指桑骂槐, because even though you can give a indirect in comparison, probably the adult, if there's an adult, probably will boheal you lah. Okay. All right. So are you still with me? Type a yes in the chat box if you're still with me and still good and sane. This is not as heavy as AOM1 and AOM2. So I thought this was pretty interesting program. Okay, let's move on to strategy number 4 before we go for a short break, shall we? And strategy number 4 is 28. Remove the ladder after climbing. Chinese call 上屋抽梯. Loosely translated, expose your weakness purposely, enticing your enemy to penetrate your line, then destroy him by surrounding him and cutting off his supply lines. So if you read this and you look at the stratagem name called remove the ladder after climbing, Chinese called 上屋抽梯. Basically, it means like that. For example, you have a loaf. Okay, you have a loaf, and to get up to the loaf, you have a ladder, right? You have a ladder. And you invite your friend to go up to that loaf. So that means you're inviting your friend to go up to the ladder, go up to the loaf by climbing up the ladder. Okay. And after climbing up the ladder, right? Meaning your friend will be just trapped at that loaf. You just remove the ladder, your friend is trapped there already. Okay. So this is called 上了屋抽梯. 抽梯 means remove the ladder. So understand this part here and you read this translation here, expose your weakness purposely, enticing your enemy to penetrate a line. Penetrate a line means climb up the ladder, go to the loaf. and then destroy him by surrounding him. To surround him basically is to remove the ladder, cutting off his supply routes. I mean, cutting off his descending routes. I mean, remove the ladder. There's no way that he can come down unless he want to jump down. Okay, so in that sense, you're actually surrounding him. It's almost like 关门抓贼. Okay, it's almost like 关门抓贼, because 关门抓贼 is also two-step thing. Two step is, can you recall 关门抓贼? What are the two step? Let's test your memory. Yesterday's lessons. 关门抓贼, there are two steps. What are the two steps? Okay, Pepe say trap and catch at the right timing. Thank you very much. So, 关门抓贼, trap and catch. Thank you, Fiona. Trap and catch. But in 上屋抽题, it is lure him up, then remove ladder. Okay, lure him up, remove ladder. So it's almost very similar to trap and catch also, right? So let us explore this 上屋抽题. It is 火雷四刻 hexagram 21. It says cannot retreat yet no path forward. It's like 四刻 but think true lor. You cannot move forward, you cannot move backward. 好，欲读未不当也. Okay, 欲读未不当也. Now when you say here, cannot retreat yet no path forward, is like you lure him up the loaf, you remove the ladder, he got nowhere to go already, cannot go forward, nowhere to go. He cannot also come down because the loaf is just too high to jump down, you know. So if let's say you got a 卦 like this, 火雷四刻 and third line change, right? You find that by inviting him up to the loaf, by changing the third line, you know, the process 卦 is limping. Limping means 摆卡. 摆卡 means you push him up there, surround him, he can't go anywhere. He's as good as 摆卡, limping. Okay, and when he's trapped down there at your mercy, okay, and at your mercy, Pepe is asking what's the difference for 上屋抽梯 and 关门抓贼. That's what I'm trying to explain now for 上屋抽梯. Right? Explain in detail for 上抽梯. So you may want to bear with me for a while, Pepe. Okay, so here, where was I? Okay, you push him up, you trap him there because you remove the ladder. It is as good as limping. Okay, as good as limping. And then, okay, and then, in order to offer him a way out, that means I can put back the ladder, but you have to do this for me. Okay, you have to do this for me, right? So therefore, when he agreed to do this for you because he needs that ladder, you know, then you find that, see, after changing the third line, right, it become a 离卦. Become a 离卦. That means 离 and 离. That means he comply with what you want. Okay, comply with what you want. Okay, so the difference between 上屋抽梯 and 关门抓贼. 关门抓贼 is to pin him down. Pin him down. Okay, pin him down and make him, for example, like the Huawei founder's daughter, arrest her. Or the Carlo Gosh, the Nissan ex-chairman, is to pin him down, arrest him. No way out. Okay, but 上屋抽梯 got a little bit of 人情味. Okay, so although I trap you in here, I can let you go. But could you do this for me? So the choice is in the hand of the victim. Of course, now I say choice, but to the victim, is as good as no choice. Okay, it's as good as no choice, but I package it in such a way that I let him do the decision making. That is a little bit different here between 上屋抽梯 and 关门抓贼. I will elaborate with some examples later on. Okay, so condition to be effective is the choice of ladder. I mean the bait lah, the luring tactics lah, you know, has to be something that the victims wants badly. So it's almost like 美人计. The choice of beauty is very important. So here, although I have the loaf, there must be something up at the loaf that can entice the victim to want to climb the stairs to go up. Okay, so if let's say there's nothing there that I can entice him, it won't work. This 三无抽屉 won't work. Okay, so once he goes up there and I pull out the ladder, he find that Azama, I got stuck already, but I need to get down. Right? So now that's where you come in to say, you provide a door of convenience. Now, what is a door of convenience? Say, oh, you're stuck there. Okay, come. Let me push the ladder back to you. But before that, could you do this for me? Okay. So this is the conditions for this 三无抽屉 to be effective. Alan say, I tend to see 关门抓贼 as exposing the person's fault or weakness, whereas 三无抽屉 is to get the person in a position where he has nowhere but consider what you want, more like a combo of 关门抓贼 plus 美人计. Very good. Very good. Good point, Alan. Good point. So it is almost like I leave the decision in your hand. Okay. But actually, I'm dictating what kind of decision you can make already. Right? So later I'll come up with examples. But if you can think of examples, concrete examples that people can understand one, feel free to type in the chat box. But a very good point, Alan. Very good point. Examples, examples. Timeshare tactics. Timeshare tactics, I know nowadays got no more timeshare, but many years back, okay, I think how many years back? 30 years back, timeshare is very prevalent. They will call you up and say that, oh, congratulations, you won a lucky draw or whatever, a prize to Canary Island in Italy, free accommodation, 7-day free accommodation. Can you come down to claim your prize? Okay, your prize. And you went down, okay, so it's like enticing you to go up to the loft, okay. And after you went there to want to receive the prize, they will ask you to, hey, since you are here, why don't you just take a look at our company? We are not fly by night. Why not take a look at company, take a look at our products. Okay. So they will put you through a presentation, right? They put you through a presentation. And then after that, will give you that, propose to you the timeshare package. Well, you can own what do you call it? A hotel in this Canary Island, which you're going to go there, and then you can go back there free 7 days every year. Okay, for free 7 days every year, you can have this kind of privilege, right? So next is, right, and then it tell you, say, okay, you sign up already, then you can have this free 7 day. You get a point? So it's like, oh, you want this free 7 day, right? Then you sign up this package. So it's like, LL, you want to take it or don't want to take it? Okay. MLM tactic, something similar also. Okay, something similar also. And some variation will be like lure and cut off tactics. Army conscription, same thing. 仙人跳, honey trap. I think I don't know Singapore have or not, but in some countries they have this honey trap thing. It's using a bit of 美人计, and then lure you to hotel. Then you take out your clothes and then they take photo. Okay, it's as good as lure you up to the loft, pull out the ladder because they take the photo of you already in your birthday suit. Okay, take a photo of you is as good as removing the ladder, nowhere to run already, all right? And then they offer you a way out. They offer you back the ladder. You say that, okay, I can destroy the photo, but can you do this for me? You transfer, don't know how much money to me, something like this. Okay, so you can say it's a scam, you can say it's a what, but whatever it is, even though it's a scam, they have to use stratagems. And a lot of time it is 连环计 one. Okay, but I'm just telling you a component stratagem called what do you call that? 三无抽屉 lah, what it means lah. That means I leave the decision back to you. What do you want to do? Okay, do you want me to upload this photo, or do you want me to send it to your wife, or do what? Or you want to just settle this by paying me this amount of money that I'm demanding? Okay, you make the choice, not I force you to make the choice. Okay, so 仙人跳 is one of them. So like I say, it's pretty similar to 关门抓贼, close the door, catch the thieves. Paul mentioned promoted a person with lure of higher position and salary, but yet is her level of incompetence then the person will automatically quit, resign due to incompetency. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Okay, good point, Paul. Yes, this could be also 三无抽屉. That means want that person to leave, but purposely promote him. Okay, don't want to terminate him, don't want to retrench him, but just promote him. Okay, up to a level of incompetence, and therefore, when he can't cope with it, or he 搞砸了 a lot of things, probably he will quit, or if he's a fighter, he will stay on. So the decision lies on that victim. You do this or you do that. You have a choice. Okay, good point, Paul. Very good point. I didn't think about that. Okay, thanks. Okay, now a scenario. All right, you're trying to convince someone to do something your way. How do you do it? How do you do it? How would you usually do it? I leave it to you. You think about it. You can think of something. Okay, type in the chat box. Let me proceed. Pei say 投其所好 beauty trap. With regard to trying to convince someone to do something your way. Yeah, you can do that also. But how about using 上物抽梯? 上物抽梯, not a 美人计 to do that. Okay, how you do that? And this is what I usually do also. Limiting their option is a good way to get them to do what you want while making them feel like they are actually doing what they want. You see the difference? I'm not forcing you to do certain things. I'm giving you options. So you make the decisions as though you are the one in control. You are the one making the decision, and I am the one following your decisions. But actually, whichever decision you make, that is what I want. Okay, so when given choices, people usually stick to the options given to them, since offering another can make them come across as difficult and aggressive. Now, knowing this point here, knowing 商务抽屉 and knowing this point here, can you think of a example? And let's say sometimes I ask my son to do something, then I told him that he has a choice, something he totally hated doing, or the actual thing I want him to do. Thank you very much. It fits exactly to these slides here. Okay, fits exactly to these slides here. Thank you very much, Alan, for sharing this very good example. Let me repeat what Alan says. Sometimes I ask my son to do something, then I told him that he has a choice, something he totally hated doing, or the actual thing that Alan wants him to do. Okay, so his son has to make that decision, and either of the decision is okay with Alan. All right. So this is as good as 三屋抽屉, push his son up to the loft, pull out the ladder, say, you want to come down, right? So either you do this or you do that. Either you stay up there or you want to take the ladder, come down. Okay. Take the ladder, come down means probably to do the actual thing that Alan wants him to do. Or if not, then his son can choose to stay up there, which is something that he totally hated doing. Okay. So this is a very good example. Very, very good example. Another example. For example, let me think of one example. Okay. For example, let's say I'm supposed to meet up with you. Okay, I'm supposed to meet up with you. And we're supposed to, go somewhere else to meet up, and then we have to decide on a venue. Okay, on a venue. But in my heart, maybe I was thinking, maybe I should either meet you somewhere close to my house, for example. So it could be where's a good place? Maybe Novena, Bishan, somewhere close. Okay, somewhere close. So I would say, okay, we have to meet up tomorrow. Which venue is more convenient for you? Novena, Junction 8. Novena Square, Junction 8. Can you see how I phrase the question? Which venue is more convenient for you? Novena Square, Junction 8. So it's as though like, more convenient for me. So that means the victim will only think about these two. Usually it will be like that. Will think about these two because asking me which is more convenient. Novena more convenient or JA more convenient. Okay. So in that sense, the victim mindset is always just trapped in the loaf. Can only see whatever things is in the loaf. And then he got to make that choice. When he make that choice, either choice, I'm happy with it. So this is what Sang Wu Chou Ti can help you achieve that kind of objective. Get my point? So PayPay say a booth selling A plus B at $10 or 3 times A at $15, both for charity. Okay, good point. Yes, giving people a choice, let the victim make the choice, but either choice, you are okay with it one. Okay, so PayPay say victim to master. How about Woodlands? Okay, then I'll use counter. All right. Okay, good point. All right, so how not to fall victim? Easily manipulated lah. Because when you're easily manipulated, then especially when you become unknowing victim to guided conversation like this lah, okay, then you can be easily manipulated. Or too trusting. Perhaps you trust me too much lah. so when I say between JA and Novena, you know, or you choose the one that serve your purpose the best, that is more convenient to you. Or you're too greedy or gullible, so you always want the best deal. All right. So either deal is also good for the other party, or impulsive. When you're impulsive, you're actually reacting. You're not responding. So don't do that. Don't react. Okay. Or you're proud and arrogant. So when you're proud and arrogant, you don't think too much about into things. Or you belittle the enemy. 小看and usually it's tied to proud and arrogant. Because you're proud and arrogant, therefore you tend to belittle the enemy. Or you're too obliging. You can't say no. Okay, you can't say no. Like for example, let's say I'm too obliging one. If PayPay suggests Woodland, if I'm too obliging, you say, oh, okay lor, but very far. Okay, never mind lah. Can Woodland then I fall for that already lor. All right. So a lot of people are too obliging. Just don't know how to say no. Prevention, always respond. This is always the key thing in AOM maneuvering. Always respond, not react. So practice 虚卦 again. 能要不能要，该要不该要。Okay, next contingency plan. Contingency plan means like what? Contingency plan. Like for example, what if PayPay counter offer Woodland? Okay, what if PayPay counter offer Woodland? Okay, right? So how do I counter? I can say that, oh, too bad, because I have another appointment near J8. Okay, near J8. So I don't think I can make it in time. So I don't think you want to make things difficult for me. Am I correct to say that, PayPay? Or unless you have something to counter. So it become like a game of chess. Okay, so if let's say you are a black belt in this, I'm a black belt in this, then we are actually moving pieces on the chessboard. Alan say, 假吃不颠, don't know which location is more convenient. How about Toa Payoh? Ken, if let's say, like what Alan say, Toa Payoh, he counter a third location, and third location is equally good for me. Okay, third location is equally good for me. Then I may counter back, not say counter back, I may accept back with a qualification. Okay, all right. I may counter back with a qualification. Right? What do I mean by that? What is qualification? I say, Toa Payoh, although a bit inconvenient for me, but I can do with that for you only. You get my point? So it become like Alan owe me something already. Okay, I'm not trying to be manipulative, but sometimes when you want to make your next best move, these are some necessary micro movement that you can do to have a more engagement with the other party for a win-win situation. Because in the end, if let's say I accepted Toa Payoh, Alan will be happy. I'm also happy. You get my point? It's become a win-win situation, right? Okay, contingency plan. So what it means is that what happens if let's say PayPay counter offer Woodland, then I must have a contingency plan, right? And I already shared with you what could be the likely counter plan if let's say PayPay counter offer Woodland. So this is for learning purposes. Okay, counter measure. 走为上哦。Right? So if you find that people are, trying to push you up the loaf and you notice that, before you climb the ladder, you run away first. Okay, you run away first. Huh? Or 经常脱壳. So run away, 走为上 and 经常脱壳 very close, very near, very, very similar. But the only difference is 经常脱壳, you leave the skin behind. That's about it. Is that okay? Any questions so far? I hope you can follow this four. Yes, Pei. Yes, I think you just use 三五抽屉 too. Good practice. So I need you all to keep practicing until it become a second nature. Okay, become a second nature. The very first time it feel very, very awkward. Usually it's this case. You feel very awkward. But as you practice more, it becomes second nature. Yeah. So let's do this. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, if not, now it's 3:30. Let's go for a 10-minute break. I hope you are not overwhelmed. So let's have a good 10-minute break. And then when the counter drops to 0, we will resume the second part of the class. So I'll start the timer now. So for those who have not signed up for the seminar, you can scan the QR code, go and register yourself. It's still $49. Okay, see you later in 10 minutes time.